Igor, you and I shall be at the very heart of a scientific enterprise that will change the world. We shall create a life out of death. It's alive.
Do you realise how significant this is?
Oh, I have an inkling.
Aside from this, do you have a favorite Frankenstein movie or version of the character?
The only other one that I've seen is Young Frankenstein, so that by default. And probably, to be fair, is a lot of other people's favourite Frankenstein movie.
Oh, yeah.
I've never seen a Frankenstein film.
Really?
No.
But he, like, exists...
I mean, yeah. No, yes.
But he exists anyway, sort of, like, whether you've seen it or not, you know.
Yeah, I'd read the book and read the book again when I got the film, but it's weird just how much I have images of Young Frankenstein in my head. I know lines from it and stuff like that without ever having watched it. I've like flicked it on TV so much. I've got images of Kenneth Branagh doing it and really going for it, and I've got images of De Niro lumbering about in the frozen waste, and yet I've never watched that film. We've got so much, we've got such a big wealth of information in our head about who and what Frankenstein is, and yet it's an amalgamation of so many sources, and that's what Max was riffing off really when he wrote this film.
It was the most qualified script I ever got. It said on the front of it, it said Frankenstein by Max Landis, based on, open brackets, the American pop culture zeitgeist interpretation of, close brackets, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein.
It's alive.
Well, that's rather obvious.
It must have been pretty challenging to, just knowing that there's been so much Frankenstein to come before, to imprint your own sort of mark on it and to do something different.
Yeah, but you know, like, I'm a director that doesn't write, so I have to go and find scripts and scripts that I'm passionate about. And this was one script that I actually fought really hard to make, and because I did feel the script itself was fresh, you know, I felt that was a different take. And yes, of course, I did this show, Sherlock, for the BBC, and Stephen Moffat writes Sherlock, and Stephen Moffat sat me down when he heard I was doing Frankenstein, and he said, "So, what are you going to do about the monster then?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And he says, "Well, you're not going to go away from what everyone knows the monster is, with the bolts in the neck and the flat head." And I was like, "Why?" And he says, "Because you can't do that, because people will want that." And I took that to heart, and actually, we don't really go that far away in the design, but it's interesting that everyone has an opinion on it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And quite passionate about it as well.
Yeah.
Like, don't mess with it. You know, don't try to make, because then you become the creator of a monster. So it's kind of interesting that this film has so many different analogies for lots of people, and I think one of them is creating monsters and creating things. And I think scripts are always like that. They're a bit Frankenstein in their nature anyway, you know.
Sure.
We shall create a man after our own image.
Questions?
Well, you're welcome.
The friendship between Igor and Victor is so interesting and cool. Can you just talk about that real quick?
Yeah, I mean, it's a friendship that is great, and I think it's a really cool relationship because it's very complex, and there's like an imbalance in it where Victor sort of has all the power for the first half of the film, for a lot of the film, which is not really how any friendship should progress. But at the same time, we both need and love each other sort of so much, but also don't really know, well, he doesn't really know how to deal with needing or loving somebody, and I've never been shown anything approaching affection before, so it's new to both of us.
We need couples therapy.
Really?
They really do. They need couples.
That's the sequel.
So they can start to figure out how we got into this situation.
Igor and I stand upon the cusp of creating life out of death.
Mr. Frankenstein.
Victor, please.
James McAvoy is the pulsating energy of everything that I've ever... I mean, he's quite hard to keep up with, you know. Yeah. And that was good because we have a film now that has a lot of energy to it and a lot of dramatic energy, but also, as you said, it has a lightness of touch as well as go into some dark areas, you know.